And welcome to the DCG development update. We are here to share what we've been working on over the past 2 weeks. If you have any... Oh, I'm hearing myself back. And I don't know why. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sounds fine to me.
Maybe you have the YouTube open?
Can be.
Well, just pass it to me.
All right. Yeah, I will try to figure it out and share my screen. So, but before that, if you have any questions during the update, please post them in the live chat below with a Q or a question prefix. All right.
Balash, share screen.
Can you see it?
Yep. Okay. So you forgot to say without further ado, but I will say it this time. So what did we do in the last 2 weeks? A lot of the focus was on 2.1 release, which we finally got out. We started work on 2.2 in the last, maybe yesterday and the day before. And even actually on the weekend, I also did work on last week on 2.2 and some work on Dash Pay as well for iOS for me. So Dash Evo tool we work on by Paul, JS SDK, Ivan, platform, Lukasz, Ivan, basically everybody contributed there to some extent. I also did a kind of like a surprise thing that I'm going to talk about today. We also released, well, actually, let's continue on and I'll give a little bit some information on the 2.1 status. So we released GroveDB 3.1. We released Rust-Core 0.40.0. 0.40.0 had work from the last few, like 2 months, I would say, and was just it's massive upgrade, massive version upgrade there. It's the library that we use in Rust for all core platform, core chain things. Then 2.1 was released in mainnet. The first version had a warning. We fixed that quite quickly within a day or within 2 days. And then we released a 2.1.1, which still had a warning. And then a few hours later, 2.1.2 that didn't have any warnings left. Today, we also released a 2.1.3. The 2.1.3 has a completely unrelated fix inside of it that actually has been present of an issue that's been present since the release of Evo. So it's a slight, it's a very good idea to upgrade to 2.1.3 just for that reason. I don't believe that it's going to cause any issues, but better be safe than sorry. Okay, let's go on. Oh, also, yeah, we've already gotten almost 2/3 of the network upgrade, and we might lock in before the end of the epoch. We might not. It's looking like we are going to lock in. If we do, it's going to activate one epoch faster. Okay, RSDAPI in platform 2.1. Lukasz?
Yeah, hi. So basically just a brief information of what we did in platform 2.1. So on my side, the biggest work was the new DAPI implementation in Rust, which we call RSDAPI. So it has been tested on testnet. We found few issues there and fixed them already. We already mentioned them on previous sprint review, and we finally released it to the mainnet. At this point, we are at 2.1.3, which includes mainly fixes in terms of the update path and like Dash made tooling for update because we had to do some improvement there. Also, did some fix into 2.1.3 to drive. I think you will mention that a bit later. So main issues here were restarting the platform. We didn't take RSDAPI into account correctly, and when we started a new RSDAPI, old DAPI wasn't cleaned up correctly, so stuff like this. That was quite hard to catch without doing actual upgrade from 2.0 to 2.1, and we missed that, so we had to do a hotfix. It wasn't a breaking change, like the old DAPI working out or being up didn't break anything at all, but it wasn't just elegant. And so it's more like cleanup and usability for masternode owners fixes, because all these issues had some workarounds. Also, we did some, let's say, the breaking change fix with port numbers. So if someone uses 0MQ and testnet, then the port of 0MQ has changed. So just you need to check the PR or the config of Dashmate to find the 0MQ port for your testnet. And it was caused by the feedback from the community who just run multiple instances of platform on the same host and had port conflicts. Also, there's RSDAPI metrics port, but no one at this point uses that because it's new feature. So this change of that port shouldn't do any harm and any impact to anyone. So that's it in terms of the 2.1. I think it's quite stable right now. We have on the next slide, we have one issue still outstanding that was reported. I think Paul found it with that some error messages are not very descriptive in terms of the default messages, just unknown error or something like that. But like error metadata is full of detailed information, so it's not such a big deal. Not sure if we do 2.1 to 2.4 from that, or we will go to 2.2 with this yet, but just some error message improvements are needed. Other stuff is mainly for 2.2, like some test improvements so that we can just run tests against one node to have all logs from that one node and to basically make debugging easier. Some improvements in terms of Prometheus. So if you want to see, let's say you are developing a system that uses Dash platform and it uses it in an intensive way, you want to see usage, see which request takes more time, how many requests you get, how many cache hits are there, because RSDAPI also have a caching layer. So all that stuff is inside layers. And right now, the PR that is up contains example Prometheus configuration that you can just run locally to see any issues and details that are there. So you can just use Prometheus for metrics locally on your local DevNet easily with this PR. And of course, cleanup of the legacy DAPI. Right now, there is a setting to use old JavaScript DAPI instead of the new RS DAPI, just in case someone has some integration that will not work correctly with new RS DAPI. On 2.2, I think we will remove it, or on 2.3, we'll see what will be the feedback about stability of RSWAPI. And last task is quite big. I'm not sure when it will finish, but it's about doing support for event subscription. So basically the idea is, I think we already discussed it briefly on previous calls, but the idea is that you might want to see any changes to documents containing some label, like the name or whatever, right? So this is in progress and bigger task because it also needs support inside Drive and stuff like that. So not only version it will be. Okay, I think that's it on my side. Paul?
Thank you, Josh. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I did mostly work on Dash Evo tool this sprint as usual, but I did get into platform a bit. As Sam was traveling, he asked me to do some test. He thought of some edge cases that we should test on the V2.1.2 release. So we spun up a DevNet and did some testing there, and everything was good. So yeah, that was good. Along the way, I fixed. I had some minor PRs that, like, one of them fixed CI. That was the Swift SDK breaking CI. And then another very edge case situation that happened to take down a couple testnet nodes, which, yeah, I mean, it was like a one-line fix, but like a really rare scenario, which we found and merged in today. Sam helped me with that. And yeah, so just adding some docs in the code basically to make things more understandable.
One small thing. It was not actually 2.1.2. It was 2.1. Like we did it last week. There was no 0.2 at that point.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no worries.
Next. Thank you. Yeah, so released V0.9.3 of Dash Evo tool. It had really the main reason I wanted to get that out was to help somebody on the Dash community that ran into a strange situation that I just happened to have the fix done already for that. Basically, when you delete your database in Dash Evo tool, if you reload your wallet and then want to reload your identities associated with that wallet, the link between the wallet and those identities that Dash Evo tool normally relies on was broken. So we added back, like, when you load an identity, you can there's configurations you can do to basically make Dash Evo tool search your loaded wallets and automatically derive the private keys for these identities, which makes things easier there. Yeah, this release also has like the latest platform version and stuff, so it's pretty minor release. Just had fixes and stuff. It also has the new Grove Stark ZK proofs tool, proof generation and verification. So yeah, people can try testing that out. Um, the right now, right now on proof generation, like in Grove Stark, we are blocking some things. So like if you try to generate a proof that should not pass verification, the proof generation is gonna like short circuit. Um, that's just for like production usage kind of. I want to open it up so that like people can actually test and create proofs that should fail verification which I do have already, but I just like kind of gated it off just for now, and I just need to re-enable those things. So I will do that maybe in the next release, and then people can like really actually try to break it, and that would be nice. Then we can have like some real testing. But for now, you can test it, in with how it is now. Uh, minor fixes. Let's see, minor fixes, and yeah. So I guess Sam and I guess Pasta as well have made big progress on SPV, and Sam asked me to start integrating it into Dash Evo tool in like the new refactored way that it is, the new and improved way. So I worked on that a bit, and I will share my screen and just show like the how it's going to look quickly. Um, share Dash Evo tool. But before I do that, I'm just going to give a sneak peek. Okay, so I was just testing things out to see how it would look, but normally, okay, so I did this. We basically have Dash Pay screens now. Normally, this is going to be like over here, the link to Dash Pay. I had moved it in here to test out UI stuff, and I just haven't moved it back yet. But yeah, we're working on Dash Pay screens. Basically, everything is done that doesn't rely on SPV, which, then we're adding SPV now, so that should be coming soon. This will be in V1, as will SPV. SPV, and basically it will be very well tested Dash Evo tool. So hopefully there's very minimal complaints about bugs and just general like usage. I know that people have given feedback about the usage being kind of not user friendly for maybe like non-developers and stuff. So we're gonna try to make it, a proper V1. Um, but yeah, we have this stuff like you can select an identity. This is kind of just a first draft, but everything does work. You can send a contact request, and this is really goes to platform as a state transition on platform. You can view incoming, outgoing contact requests, view profile, and you actually can set an avatar URL in here. You can edit your profile. This one has none loaded. Payment history. This depends on SPV, so this is coming soon. And search profiles, you can search people by name and stuff. I wonder if I can do this. Yeah, cool. Paul. Yeah. Let me try add contact or view profile. Yeah, okay.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that doesn't make sense. What is search profiles?
It searches like the Dash Pay contract for profile documents.
Oh, with a certain name?
Yeah, yeah.
Where you have a certain name? I did not even know we had that indexed. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's not, it's not, it's supposed to work through DPNS, right? You're supposed to search people
Oh,
not through the,
maybe it is DPNS.
I
No,
think
it can't be.
I think there's a mistake there. When you send a contact request, right? Or you search for somebody, you're supposed to use DPNS. DashPay is just supposed to be the the yeah, there is no index.
I forget what I did. I worked on that like over a month ago. I
I'm
forget how I did that exactly.
no problem, no problem. I was just confused because I'm like, how does that even work? Do we have some
Uh,
internal feature that I don't know about? It could maybe also just be showing all the profiles maybe that exist in the system. Mm,
um,
Probably
I don't
not
know.
though. I'm guessing we have, well, it could be. I mean, maybe nobody else. has a
Oh, look at that.
maybe it's getting all the profiles and then doing it. I don't know. We'll have to figure that one out. Not really sure what's going on there. But yeah, cool. I guess maybe we have some functionality that exists in the system that is magic. Um, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Generate QR code,
Um,
auto accepting contact requests.
oh yeah, you did the auto accept. That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Do you
Yeah.
want to show the second part?
Yes. Okay. So SPV sync is working great now, and it automatically will, if you have a wallet loaded, it will automatically populate the addresses and balances and stuff. This one I already have, so oh, you know what? But the sync is gonna take a minute, I guess, like a full 2 minutes or something. Um, Maybe I can just show the progress bars.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. That's a bug.
Maybe you have to restart it.
Um, yeah, let me restart, I guess. 1 second. Just be 1 second. And reshare. SPV. Okay, can you see?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so basically you have like you can see the progress. It has four different five, I can't count. Five different phases.
There's,
Right now
I
I'm in,
mean, there is no validating headers phase.
this is formerly downloading master lists, but now the name has changed to this apparently.
Well, it should be downloading master node lists. That is what is supposed to do. I don't know why it changed to validating headers. So
Okay. Yeah. So we had this address before, I believe. I guess after filters, it should populate the
that
balances and stuff.
is extremely fast.
Yeah, that was way faster
Much.
than I thought it would be.
What did you say?
That was way faster than I thought it would be.
Well, it doesn't
Yeah,
appear that it's going from a checkpoint, so that would make some sense that it is nice
oh,
and quick.
it is going from a checkpoint, but at the same time, like that's faster than I normally that we had before. What I think is actually happening is we updated to the latest. I mean, actually, no, there's no. I don't know why it's that fast, but
I think so when I just merged like Dash Pay stuff into this branch and it kind of some things got messed up. Like it's getting
yeah,
stuck here, but uh normally these addresses and the balance will sync and stuff. So
yeah.
it's working.
I did see the balance sync the other day, so I think that like here we have like it. Maybe there was a block in the meantime because we've found that bug actually. Pasta. Basically, if there's a block while it does the filters, it gets stuck. I think maybe
Right.
I'm not sure.
I think my OpenPR right now fixes that.
Oh, you have a PR fixing that? Excellent. Okay. Well, yeah. So for people watching us, still room for improvement here, but it is progress.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been working great. I think I messed something up when I just merged Dash Pay in.
Yeah. So the goal is now we're going to be um working on getting, so I have this project that I've been working on called Platform Wallet. And the platform wallet basically is an abstraction on top of what Paul implemented in Dash Evo tool, that when it hits a special transaction that registers an asset lock, it then verifies the identity that asset lock created, and then downloads from platform all the contact requests, populates all the Dash Pay information, and then continues syncing. So that actually is in progress. Once I have that done, which probably will be in the next week or so, we'll be able to make a small modification and integrate that, and then Dashbase should work 100% in Dash Evo tool. I was working on it in iOS, but I believe that we probably want to just focus on Dash Evo tool, because Dash Evo tool is 100% Rust. Get it working 100% in Rust as a stepping stone, and then I can get it. It will be a lot easier to finish up just the UI part in iOS, and then it should be all done. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to help Paul with SPV as well. Not SPV, but like Dash Pay part there. Or maybe I'll do it. We'll see how much Paul wants to work on it. How much you want to work on it.
Just kidding.
Okay. Let's go to this one is Yvonne's work. Yvonne has been working on one of the big tasks is improving the JavaScript SDK. So we did release the JavaScript SDK, and it's on the network right now in version 2.1. However, as everything, things can be improved. So one big thing that we're trying to improve for 2.2 is getting a better DPP experience. What does that mean? So a lot of the objects that we have in the WASM DPP aren't very easily populated, right? You don't know, this type of object has these properties. It's kind of often a function call that you have, and it's not. You have to look at documentation to be able to use it, right? We want to make it a little bit easier for developers and have like autocomplete work nicer and things like that. So Yvonne's been working on that. So like DPP entities, right? So what's a DPP entity? Like a document is a DPP entity, or a data contract. For example, when you register a token has different properties, like token convention names. So a token convention name, it basically is, this token is called Flurgon in English, but in French it's called Flurgun. Actually, it's the same spelling. And in Italian, Flugoni. Who knows? Just an example. But these things that can be done in the SDK, it's easier if they're really spelled out for developers. So we want to make it like even easier for them. So that's kind of the work that we're doing right now. That will be part of 2.2. It's actually at about 18,000 lines of code there. So massive PR that Yvonne's been working on, and it's been really good. He's basically been going, he's kind of done it like in solo development mode and pushing that. Okay, this is kind of my surprise that probably people are not expecting. I'm going to be talking a little bit about a new feature in 2.2 that we're working on. And, I don't have my video on. You guys can see my beautiful face. So identities, why are they good? Identities in Evo have like persistent user representation. They allow you to easily query data ownership. They allow for permission state transitions. They can have a reputation system. They make the system also a lot easier to understand. Like Bob owns this, right? And you know that Bob owns this, right? Everybody, it's all public. And there are some, extreme use cases for identities, like digital identities. But you don't always want a digital identity, right? You want in blockchain, you want it sometimes, but you don't want it all the time. And let's go to the next slide. So what are the limitations? So the actions have very little anonymity. Also, let's imagine you as an identity, you linked, everybody knows who you are in the system. You are called Bob. That's your DPNS username. And you have a friend of yours named Mark, and you want to bring him into crypto. Well, it's very hard to do just directly on platform, because if we were to make it like pay identity to identity, then those two identities are linked forever on the blockchain. So you don't really want to do that. And I'm sure there are other limitations that people can think of. And I mean, they're probably smaller limitations. And there are also, more good things about identities as well. I just kind of made a condensed list for the feature that we're talking about. So next slide. What is the idea? So let's add in address UTXOs to platform. So identities can send money directly to addresses directly on the platform chain. These addresses for 2.2 can fund some actions. They can create an identity. They can top up by an identity. They can also just be used as in core for transferring value between addresses, just as you would do it on the payment chain. And we could potentially do anonymity features on the platform chain as well. Maybe CoinJoin, maybe other anonymity type systems to provide fungibility of tokens, not tokens, of your currency, of Dash on the platform chain. So our wallets will later be able to hold funds in identities for platform, but also in platform addresses, just like they do for core addresses. And this should stay disjoint, and it should increase anonymity in general. But, we're going to take a very phased approach about this. So in 2.2, it's going to be, just the first thing here. And let's talk about like how this works. So let's say Bob has an identity with 2Dash on the platform chain. He has it in credits. Mark is new to Dash. Like Mark is Bob's friend. Hey, come on into Dash. You can do all these cool things. And Mark wants to create his identity, but Bob wants to like send him to Dash so to get him started. Right now, very, very hard. Bob would need to make a withdrawal to core, or he has Dash on the core chain. Then he would need to send Dash to an address controlled by Mark. Then hopefully Mark would use CoinJoin to anonymize that link between the two. Then Mark creates an acid lock, and Mark creates the identity. The last three steps are done automatically by the mobile wallet, right? So a lot of this complexity is actually hidden from users. The new way would be more that Bob just sends to an address controlled by Mark on the platform chain. There is anonymization of funds to break the link, because we don't want it to be known that Mark is been paid by Bob, right? And then Mark creates the identity. So what is going to happen in 2.2? We're not going to have the anonymization of funds, but we will allow for addresses and creating identity. Actually, I think I have it on the roadmap in the next slide. I think so. Yes. So we'll introduce a UTXO system with 4 new state transitions, identity transfer to addresses, addresses transfer. So that's like a core transaction. Identity create from addresses, identity top up from addresses. So you can then use addresses that you have in your like wallet that you would have in Dash wallets, and then you can create an identity with those addresses. It might take a while till we have this features in mobile, but we're getting it kind of into the platform chain first. And then another thing in 2.2 is we're going to have, well, I mean, that ends that. I'm sure there are going to be questions around that, but moving on for other things in 2.2, we're going to be working on stream notifications and iOS SDK. 2.2, I'm estimating right now that it's going to be sometime in December. I don't want to give like roadmap dates too far in advance, but for this, December does seem about accurate. This is not just an idea at this point. I've been working on this about 4 days now, and I have 2 of the 4 state transitions done. So, I would say that I'm about 30% done with the UTXO system, which is pretty good for 4 days. So it's for me personally, working in platform is like wonderful, and I needed to take a little break from iOS development, which is very heavily AI based, and AI at this point can still make you a little bit crazy, because when it doesn't do what you say, and just completely like you say do A, B, C, and it does A, B, E, and then you don't realize right away, it's very nerve-wracking. So anyways, let's go on to the next slide. Yeah, so roadmap 2.3, we're still doing the token marketplace, the counted nodes and queryable having attributes. We're actually going to move that into 2.3 because 2.2 got bigger with this UTXO system. Yeah. Also, just a side note, once we have the UTXO system and platform, external contributors could, if they wanted to, introduce anonymity to platform. Yeah. Okay. Next slide for I think that's actually it. Yeah. So let's go on to the mobile team. Brian?
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that. So on Android, the dual username feature is proven a little bit more complicated than we planned. So that is in hopefully the final testing now. One more step to that is some network related kind of monitoring that we have to do. We finished incorporating all the beta feedback that we got, both from internal testing and community testing. There'll be continued updates as we go, but the key ones that we wanted to do before we released is done. We had to make some changes to be a little bit more flexible on our JSON parsing for the CTX interface. That was done on both Android and iOS. We're a little blocked by the CTX staging environment availability, but aside from that, it's done. We did have some final steps before merging the transaction metadata feature. So that's in progress currently. Actually, I think it's in testing. And we did release 11.4.1, which is our piggy cards feature, which was in beta. On iOS, those same JSON parsing changes, as well as we had a fix that was required for active inactive status of merchants on CTX. Those are both done and tested. We mostly tested. We just have some administrative steps we need to do in the Apple Store before we can release those. And then the Explore Dash widget that I demoed last review is all the UI and search improvements are done. It looks a little different than it did when I demoed it, but yeah, those are all done. And then the security improvements were made as well. Next steps are going to be to get some HTTP certs and get it migrated to the dash.org website. So that'll be in hopefully the coming weeks. We being the mobile team, started trying to get involved with at least some preliminary testing of the example app that Asta has been working on. So hopefully we can continue to contribute there. But there's been some teething pains trying to get up and running. So nothing really to report on that front yet. That's it from me, the mobile.
Oh, yes. So, I should have put more in here. When I say continued work on Dash Pay integration, the big thing that I've been working on, and I said it earlier, is actually the platform wallet code. So, how does this actually work? In Rust-Core, we have a core wallet that basically syncs the blockchain, well, the Dash SPV that is integrated into a core wallet. That connection is somewhat can morph, and you can either point it to a core wallet or you can port it to a platform wallet that also contains a core wallet. So in the platform wallet, as it's reading transactions from the blockchain, it sees transactions that could be an identity registration. And as soon as it finds an identity registration, it actually adds the identity to the platform wallet, adds all the contacts, all the DashPay contact requests to the wallet, and then continues syncing with the DashPay connectivity wallet. I mean, so each connection actually gives a inbound and an outbound set of addresses. So those address accounts are actually added in to the wallet, and with that, it continues to sync, and you see all the DashPay transactions that you have. That is actually like intensely in work. I had stopped a little bit on iOS just because I needed some time back on platform, but I started on this again, and I've been on it for 2 days, made a lot of progress. So hopefully by the next review, I will be able to show DashPay working. Not on iOS. As I said, we're going to probably be doing DashPay on Dash Evo tool first. Get the Rust, make sure that the foundational SDK that I'm building is working 100%. Get all the kinks out, and then write the abstraction layer onto iOS. So that's the plan. Core team.
Awesome. Sounds good. So a number of things made solid progress here. The big one that we are moving towards is the release of V23. And so RC3 was released in this cycle, and that was tested on testnet. Everything looks good there, and we are wrapping up kind of the final components to launch version 23. So release notes and some final chain params, bumps, and those kind of things are getting done basically today. So very likely this week we will have V23 released publicly, which is very cool. Continued work on extended addresses. Constantine spent some time in the past couple of weeks working on backporting basically what is HWI, which is basically the ability it uses like an external dependency, but it adds the ability to use hardware wallets in core. And so he's tested this now, I believe, on a Ledger and maybe on a Trezor. But this is kind of a cool feature that we are kind of excited to be able to backport and bring into the code base. It does depend on basically like a little daemon that runs in addition to core. Um, that is like a Python file that kind of bridges the hardware wallet APIs and exposes something that core can use. So um, that is pretty exciting. I do believe Constantine is still looking into some ways to um, give users the ability to hide dust if they don't want to see it and that kind of stuff. One of the big things that I worked on this past cycle was minimizing mutex contention. That can be a big issue in performant code, and there were a couple of spots, especially in our networking code, where we had quite high uh, mutex contention. And so I spent a good bit of time kind of reworking how some of that works and implemented the usage of some read-write locks, which actually Bitcoin never really uses, which is interesting to me. Their, I guess, network traffic is minimal enough that they don't see the benefit from it enough. But for us, especially on master nodes, especially when there's a lot of like instance unlocking going on, the contention on the networking threads is very significant. And based on some of my testing on testnet recently, uh, refactoring how two of these mutexes work was actually able to cut our total lock contention by something on the magnitude of like 75% overall. One of them, um, one of them reduced by basically 100% because it was read dominated and we were able to convert it to a read write lock. And so there's basically no contention on it. And the other one we were able to reduce by about 85%. And that one mutex represented about 60 to 70% of overall contention. And so reducing it by 85% reduced overall contention quite a bit. We're looking at some caching strategies to reduce contention on CS main as well. But I'm pretty excited about some of those improvements. And one of them has been merged in. One more is actively in review. Um, and hopefully will be able to be merged in relatively soon. Um, with some of that work, or like the impetus behind some of that work was some other stuff that I was doing related on reducing the latency for LLMQ signing and like instance unlock signing. Some preliminary data that I have so far shows that I should be able to relatively easily get up to like 250 milliseconds of latency reduction, which I've not seen that happen on big networks yet, so hopefully it doesn't, fall apart when deployed to bigger networks. But on local networks, I was able to get latency from like 500 milliseconds down to around 250 milliseconds. So um, obviously, when scaled up to a bigger network, that may be a bigger improvement, or that maybe it could be a smaller improvement. But either way, I'm looking forward to being able to deploy that at some point and see what kind of results that might have. Um, Other than that, there were some improvements to some CI stuff, but nothing like super duper interesting. But some improvements to CI make it a little bit more efficient, make it a little bit faster. All right, cool. So on this slide, you can see if Balash would, yep. So here's the backport progress. We are basically wrapping up V24 backporting right now. Um, there are a couple of things that are open right now. And I believe once those open things are merged in, um, they basically V24 will be wrapped up and done. And, we'll be moving on to V25 and later. So super cool. Always good to knock one out. But yeah, we can move on to the next slide. And you can see this last 2 weeks was actually pretty significant. I had to reduce the font size quite a bit in order to fit them all on here. Um, you can see there's a lot of refactoring around mutexes. There was a good bit of backporting. There was a good bit of general refactoring to reduce some circular dependencies and have basically better code structure that separates better the consensus logic and the state handling logic. And so, yeah, a good chunk of good changes here. Anything else I wanted to mention here? Yeah, I think that looked good. Looks good. So cool. That is pretty much a wrap for core. We should be getting V23 out in the near future, and we can go ahead and move on to the next slide.
Which is questions. All right, let's see. With the first, I think we already answered some of the questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go over them really quickly. I
All right,
can read
please.
them too.
Yeah.
So the first one is when token marketplace is it still planned as part of Dash platform 2.3? Yes, it is. Still 2.3. We're gonna have 2.2 in December, and then hopefully iOS also will be in December. I laugh because December is gonna no in the second half of November and December is gonna be very intensive for me. So we'll see how and the rest of the team. Hopefully, we'll also have an extra hire or two. Maybe that can help. So that goes on to the second question. DCG was looking for an iOS developer. Any news on that? Are there any candidates close to being hired? So yes, there is news, and it hasn't been good. Our interview process is pretty difficult, and we've received, I'm not sure, somewhere between 50 and 100 applicants, but so far none of them have uh, been good enough for the position. We're in talks with a few that are starting their second interview, and maybe they will be good enough. But so far, we haven't had anybody that we felt confident enough to make an offer to. And yeah, it's there's a combination of skill sets that you need for such a position that makes it a little bit hard to hire for. And on top of that, well, we've been getting a lot of people that say they can do a lot, and then when you drill down, is not as much. And we don't want we really want hires that can hit the ground running and can contribute in a productive way without somebody just being behind them and explaining for multiple months how to do things, right? So, we're still far on that front. We have a few candidates that look promising at the moment. So we'll see if how that goes. We have done 20 interviews so far. It's just when I don't feel like the candidate is going to work out. I mean, I haven't even gotten to a point where I found a candidate that was like, oh, maybe. No, not yet. So we'll see. One good thing is with the at the very beginning, when the Dash price was at $20 or $23 is when we posted the first ad, right? So we had a much lower budget that we actually posted with the job description. So a lot of those candidates that we originally got were with a much lower budget. And then recently we posted a senior position because our budget allows for it. And in the senior position, we are getting a few good candidates in the last few days. But we get less candidates, but the ones that we get, are generally better. When I say generally better, it means like 2 out of 10 are good instead of 1 out of 10. Anyways, I'll continue on to the next question. When Dash Pay will be done and released for iOS? I don't know, but I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we will get a Dash Evo tool with SPV in November. And once we have that completely working, it's just a matter of language and FFI, which means, well, we will get a example app of iOS probably working in December, and then the integration will probably take a few more weeks. That's my guess at this point. So when iOS, that was answered. How easily can DPNS be modified to associate info like static addresses, email, phone number? Well, you don't need to modify DPNS to associate things like static addresses, email, and phone number, because on your identity, you can associate addresses, email, phone number, right? You can have a contract for that. And then DPNS can be associated to your identity. So you don't need to make any modifications. Good morning, Dash 95 on CoinMarketCap. Yep. Follow up, could email phone be encrypted but be able to be queried? Well, yes and no. You can't get information. You can't get encrypted information. You can't query encrypted information. So the question could be interpreted two ways, right? Let's say the email is encrypted, right? So you just have like random data. That's how the system sees it. You can't query to say, hey, give me people whose names start with S against encrypted data, because that encrypted data is just random. Like it's just like white noise. So you would not be able to get back the things that you care about. However, you could say, okay, give me identities, give me identities that match this characterization, and then you get back encrypted emails. And then on the client side, you have decryption keys that, or let's say your contacts, right? So you get all your contacts, and maybe you have a decryption key that can decrypt your email on the client side. That's possible. Next one. Send QE back to vacation. I want pup. Good idea, TL. I'm gonna go see some tigers next week for a few days. We'll get to $100 as I'll be eaten by giraffes. I don't think giraffes eat people though. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult will it be technically to change Dash's tokenomics to redenominate? This is not something that we've talked about it for years. It's not something that DCG will be working on. $217 Evo nodes are upgraded. That's great. So it seems like we will lock in tomorrow. That's amazing. Anything else? Florgoni. Go on vacation. More reading you loud and clear. Platform addresses would be a radical way to solve get from core to platform issue. Yes, that is true. And that is kind of why we're doing it. It also is kind of interesting because, we could build out things like confidential transactions in platform. If somebody wanted to do that, or some other things. And, it is contracty to me. Will this raise processing load of node very much? Uh,
Is some breaking up for anybody else, or is it just me?
Oh, I'm breaking up.
I just lost all audio, but I got it. I heard him now.
Am I back?
Yes, back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not very good internet here. So the processing cost in this is actually quite low because it will only get transactions. Like, let's imagine you have 100 transactions and 100 streams. As it so very low amount. It probably will raise the processing load of the nodes by 5-10%. And we'll have it on the nodes that you will be able to say how much you're willing to do for the network. So you can even set it to 0 if you want, and say that you are not willing to put this feature in terms of processing at all. One great thing of this feature is not that it's done on Evo nodes, right? But it also allows people to run their own, not their own platform chain nodes, without the 4,000 collateral. So if exchange wants to do it, they can run their own node. They can have full subscriptions to anything that they want, right? And then this allows them to get all the notifications that they want. Okay, when anybody that has an address, any identity has an address, any address has a new balance transferred to it, they can put a subscription on all the things that they care about that are, for the exchange. And they can run their own node, and then they're 100% sure that there will never be a problem, right? The fact that we're also pushing this to the network is kind of like, okay, most clients, mobile clients, they don't want to run their own node. So the network will also allow it. Will be those that are very, very cheap. So I don't really expect any problem. Plus, Evo nodes have an incentive to give a good experience to the ecosystem. Can people still hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I can add a bit to that. So we have two things implemented to help with that. First is rate limiter. So we can limit number of requests per second or per IP or per minute, whatever we figure out there. It's based on Envoy rate limiter. So this is one feature that we can use to control that. Actually, the second one is timeouts. So the subscriptions are long-running queries, and we have some timeouts defined that we will basically close these subscriptions after, for example, 10 minutes or whatever we set there. And third item is that what I mentioned today is Prometheus support. So we can gather statistics and know which request took how much time, how many requests we get from DAPI. And based on that, we can tune these rate limits. So at this point, this issue is not big, but if someone gets into a point where he has performance issues with their node, he can just start Prometheus. It will automatically detect services and will show like buckets, time consumed by each request, and response time, and how many requests were there, how much caching helped, and stuff like that. So we are basically embedding tools to manage that, because we agree that it might be an issue if someone has a node that is used by a very big amount of people, like if someone makes a wallet that is public and connects to only one node. The idea behind that is that it should be distributed, so users should just connect to as many nodes as possible and randomly select a node. But if someone just forces one node, we can rate limit it, and it's rate limited at this point already with some basic settings.
Thanks, Lukasz.
Thank you.
I
We have
would-
two.
Yeah, we have two more questions.
Yeah. So, question for Pasta. From a technical perspective, could conjoin with confidential transaction and conjoin without CT exist together in parallel but separate if this was desired?
Yeah, but I wouldn't recommend it, right? Like it splits your anonymity set kind of in half, right? Like ideally, anytime you have like any kind of privacy or something like that, right? Like you want everyone to kind of look the same. And so if you split up your kind of pool into two distinct halves, it's kind of not ideal. You know, what happens if 95% of people use confidential transactions and then, you know, if Sam is the only one that is using, you know, the old version of CoinJoin or whatever, that's going to be relatively obvious that, you know, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of deduce his transactions.
Oh no, people will know that I've donating money to the foundation for spaghetti named children.
Indeed.
Interesting.
Last question. Recent mobile app releases have declined in quality. Earlier releases were more stable and bugs rarely reached production. Why is this happening?
I mean, I can speak to that, I suppose. I mean, it'd be helpful to have maybe a more specific example, but I can say that there's probably two major things that have changed over the past, I'd say year or so with the apps. One is, features, right? We've added a lot of features, new integrations, and obviously Dash Pay. I mean, just the introduction of Dash Pay features easily probably tripled the types of number of things that we need to test. So that's probably one big factor. Just the scope of testing that we have to do before a release has increased substantially, and it just by default increases the risk of us, missing something or whatnot. Another one is CoinJoin. That's been a very complicated system to put into mobile. And as it gets used more and more and more, it does end up resulting in issues that I can't expect that we'd always catch. It's just very different usage across our user base. So those are two of the biggest factors I'd say involved. The reality is, I mean, once something goes out, it's in a much larger user base with some risk of, of something that we didn't catch. We have started looking into automation on our QA side, or more automation, so that we can, take up the testing of those features more sufficiently. But that is a process. It also could involve, specialized resources, either third party or in-house. So we are looking at ways to try to get that automation in place to help, reduce issues that might come up. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you very much. Sam or anybody else, would you like to add anything else?
Not really.
All right, then thank you very much for being here, asking questions, giving us feedback, and see you in